Hello everybody, my name is Peng Sun. I hope everything is going well with you. Today, I would like to bring you to see one of the most popular and beautiful spots for sunset. This site, just located 1.5 kilometers from Angkor Wat Temple, 500 meters to Angkor Thom compound, and it could be seen on the left side just before Angkor Thom compound south gate. Bakeng Hill comprises 4 staircases that can lead the tourists to get up to the top, one on each cardinal directions, but they are out of use because this site is over 1,000 years already. Just only 2 staircases are still recognizable. The one on the east side is the main, and the one on the north side is just here. Originally, all of the 4 stairways were guided by big sandstone lion statues. Like this one here is complete, and the stair is still in good condition, but it is closed for conservation. I'm walking around to the east stair to take a hike by the promenade to the hilltop, roughly 900 meters from the bottom. Okay, please let's hike along with me to see the spectacular scenery around the hill together. There we go. The possibility of visit for this temple cannot be later than 5:30 p.m. because the platform is small and there is a queue up there. At the start of the promenade, a traditional musical band plays to entertain to get generosity from the tourists every day. We have to hike by this spiral path up to the temple, nearly 1 kilometer. On the way, we have 2 platforms for the tourists to take a rest when their legs get tired, and they can view the brick temple peaks on the right side with a cool and fresh air that make the tourists feel energetic. The hill is about 79 meters high, laying from the east to the west for about 500 meters and 400 meters from the north to the south. At the end of the 9th century, this hill was the center of a new capital city, Yesatthara Barat, just after Hariharalaya in Rulos area, and it can be called the first Angkor. This ancient capital covers an area of 4 kilometers square that's surrounded by a big moat and soil wall, like a boulevard for protection. This compound was even bigger than Angkor Thom compound, in which is still visible, but nowadays this enclosing wall is vanished. According to the document, from each stairway ran orientation down to each main entrance on different cardinal points by a big avenue with big gardens on both sides. It was so beautiful and extensive within. From each entrance was connected to the other crucial cities in the kingdom for the royal officers, commanders, pilgrims, slaves, and the tributes to be brought in. In those days, this city was probably the most sophisticated city in the region. The temple on the top hill was built by the king Yasovarman I after he succeeded the throne from his father, King Antravarman, in 889 AD. The king had very high knowledge, got educated by a great Raja Guru named Vamasiva, who was a son and a disciple of Guru Sevasam. We can testify that the king was very powerful and brilliant. According to his achievements, he was very flexible and tactical in ruling the kingdom. The king was a specialist in managing the warfare, agricultural system, and consolidation between those who worship Hinduism and Buddhism. In the late of 9th century, after the king ascended to the throne, primarily the king built Prasat Lolai temple that located in the middle of Antratada reservoir on an artificial island representing 2 Mountain Meru in Rulos area, dedicated to his paternal and maternal god. He led his soldiers to patrol around his kingdom as well as to proclaim his power. Having enough structures and patrimonies in the capital, and being near the Great Lake may be flood deluge sometimes, the royal consultants and astrologists had advised the king to move the capital city to settle in another area in the northwest. Therefore, the king founded the new capital Yesalterabria in this victorious location and constructed Bakhang Temple on this tiny hilltop as the state temple and also honor to Lord Shiva in 893 AD. In the central tower, originally they deposited a Sivalingam statue named Trayasopuvesvara for him to worship. Additionally, on the other two hilltops nearby, in which shaped like a triangle, Phnom Bok Hill and Phnom Krom Hill, the king had also built a temple for the supreme gods, but they are smaller than this one here and consist just only 3 towers, each one for each god, like Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, which are broadly worshipped by Hindu people. This invention was intended to inhale the energy from the universe for the god king who ruled in this earthly paradise kingdom. A part of it, the king had constructed the water reservoir, Eastern Barai, measuring 2 kilometers by 7 kilometers, distance just about 4 kilometers in the east from the capital city, to reserve the water from the rainy season to supply the agriculture sector, religion, and populace usage in the dry season. This water reservoir is still recognizable until present day. One of the inscriptions says the king was a great and brave warrior. He had led his soldiers to war with the charm that always encroaching on Khmer territory, and the second time he led the soldiers to get rid of the pirates that using yaks with white-colored sail came to slay and rob Khmer people at the coast. The king always got triumph in the battle. Under the reign of King Yasovarman I, the populace lived in peace, harmony, splendor, and prosperity. For the religion sector, Hinduism and Buddhism were also flourished, and they could live together peacefully. The king had ordered the mentors to build 100 shrines for the ascetic clerics and austere pilgrims along the southern dike of the reservoir, such as Brahmana shrine for Shiva sect, Vaishnavakana shrine for Vishnu sect, and Sekata shrine for Buddhist. In terms of land area, Khmer kingdom was very vast. In the north, stretches out to China. In the west, extended to Burma. In the east, border to Champa, and the south, outlet to the sea. So it was very huge. The King Yasovarman I crowned the throne from 889 AD and deceased in 900, and he got posthumous name Parne Sevelo. Now we are getting up to the second platform. Here we can see the Western Barai Reservoir and an artificial island in the middle. Around the water reservoir, we can see some thatch roofs and coconut trees in the village. Even it is a bit hazy, but the view is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, we have to continue our expedition about 300 meters left. So hold your breath, we are almost there. In front of each stairway, at the bottom, originally had a Nandi statue, the vehicle and guardian of Lord Shiva. Most tourists who come to visit the temple before climbing up to the top, they never miss to pray here for good luck and happiness, as well as to ask for permission before meeting the Supreme God. Now I have to respect this custom, so the god will bestow the boons to me. I'm walking around from the east stairway, forwarding to the main temple. This stairway, among the four, is the best condition. We still can see the laterite stone steps, paved on the natural mountain stone, but some parts of it are ruined. In the past, this stairway had a road rail orientation down to the old capital, Hariharalaja, in Rulos area, and connected to the other cities like Isanapura in Kampong Thom province, continue to Sampubara in Takeo province in present day, and it ran up until the border of Champa country through Kampuchea Crown, Lower Cambodia, in what is now South Vietnam. On the surface, we can see the chisel marks that Khmer ancestors chiseled it to make it even, and the rubbles they brought to dump to the side. And a part of it was filled up into the puddles, so brilliant work. In the middle of the terrace here, there is a Buddha footprint. It still has very good condition, and the shrine covering the statue was constructed in later period. Remarkably, on the footprint there are 108 small squares. In each one contains a various figure like gods, animals, and objects called in Bali language Buddha Pada. The significance of number 108 in Buddhist faith, illustrating to the auspices of Buddha teachings that could bring our souls to rest in peace. Relatively, this number 108 also representing to the 4 lunar phases of each 27 days long. All the Buddha's icons here had been deposited just after the country became Buddhism perhaps. The temple is built in pyramid shape. The length of each angle is about 60 meters square and 29 meters in height. Seated on a 7-level platform that representing to the 7 top tiers of heaven, comprising 109 towers, including the central one. The first level is laying on the floor. There are 44 towers, 11 on each of the 4 angles. From the second to the 6th level, on each tier comprising 12 towers, 5 tiers is 60 towers, and on the last top level consists 5 more towers, so in total is 44 plus 60 plus 5 is 109 towers. Unfortunately, some towers are collapsed and some are being restored. The number of these towers symbolizing to the immortality and also corresponding to the planets around the mythical mountain Meru, in which the central tower represented. In front of each stairway, there are 2 libraries for the ascetic priest to store the holy manuscripts and holy relics that utilized by the royal king and his family. By overviewing, the art style of the structure is imitated from Bakong Temple that was constructed by his father Andravarman in Rulos area, but this one seems had been planned before constructing more elaborately than Bakong Temple. The temple got restoration and conservation from 2004 under the cooperation of Apsara Authority and World Monument Fund. The United States has provided cost over $3 million to preserve the Phnom Bakheng Temple on stabilizing, restoring, and repairing the water management system at the site. Here, we still can see the cranks and the reinforced to rescue the safety parts. To avoid the congestion in going up to the terrace and ensuring the safety, the Apsara Authority has arranged the east staircase for only climbing up and the south staircase for coming down. To control the number, They providing 300 badges for the tourists, but not for the children under 12 years old. And the tourists, they have to cover up for paying respect. At the east stairway here, normally there is a long queue of tourists waiting to go up on the same purpose, having small terrace, averting congestion, safety, and respect. Apsara authority has put out some regulations. The tourists, after taking pictures around 20 minutes, respectively, they will come down and return the badge to the awaited tourist in line, so they have chance to climb up. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, the regulation is not strictly implemented, and the tourists, no line, they can climb up right away. Now I'm going up the stair. Even it's a bit steep, but I feel so safe with the wide wooden steps and rail. It's a good idea to preserve the original step. Climbing up 69 steps, come through the 5 tiers, I can see the small towers around the edge. And on each tier, there are 12 towers representing to the 12 zodiac signs. The towers remarkably get smaller on the upper level that look like a big lotus bud flower from the distance. Some parts we can see the stones bright from getting polished in the restoration. Now I'm feeling of spirit and malefic effects of the god when I get up here. Here is the uppermost level of the temple, consists 5 towers, but they are all collapsed. Just only the base remain, symbolizing to the 5 peaks of the mimic Hindu mountain Meru. So here is the mansion of the gods. The small towers are arranged in each corner of the platform, and the main one standing in the epicenter of the platform. The structure like this, architecturally called Queen Kong mode. In the past, when the king came to celebrate or pray here, they would have participation by great priests, Brahmins, astrologists, bandits, and musician orchestra would play to lead the king, queens, royal officials, royal maids, and offerings to parade around the temple by clockwise 3 times before the king could stride up here to meet the god. I wish all those auspicious events come back to stay in this holy place again. I'm going to proceed around this central sanctuary, and then I will pray at the central tower. The motif on this tower is still well preserved and magnificent, especially Apsara images. This one here, the left hand holding a lotus flower and a right hand holding a broom, wearing multi-pleated skirt held by a bell with big earrings and other jewelries, reveals about the perfect character of Khmer lady, gentle, honest, and ingenuity, but strict, rigorous, and resilient. Some parts of the temple got damaged by the gun bullets during the Civil War. There were some Khmer Rouge soldiers, the kind of non-ideal persons. They shot down the figures, especially Apsara carving, being exposed, considered as indecent for their entity. And some parts got damaged by the shell shrapnel. During the liberation, the government troops based the artillery here. 2 ballistic shot over the enemies. The war devastated everything, even their own national identities, which is priceless items. They also could raise their hands to destroy them, not regretfully. On the north of the hill, we can see the last canopy foliage in Angkor Thom compound. On the east and northeast far out, we have Phnom Bok Hill and Kulin Mountain, but we can't see them today because in this season we have haze. But in the southeast nearby, we can see the peaks of Angkor Temple emerging out from the jungle that look like a soaring paradise. Down straight to the south, 8 kilometers, is Siem Reap city. Beneath, to the southwest, near the hill bottom, the rice paddies in square with some palm trees look like a big painting. The view is so picturesque. In the west here, we can see the Western Barai Reservoir. It is also hazy on this side. All the tourists now, they just keep the eye watching in this direction to see the sun setting gradually down. The view color at the horizon is absolutely amazing and very romantic. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, all the birds are on the way back to their nest after a full day long of finding meal. This memorable moment make the tourists feel delighted with pleasant smile and say goodbye at last. Ladies and gentlemen, after watching my video, I hope you enjoy with my description. If there is any mistakes that I have made deliberately, please forgive me because I'm not perfect. At the end, I would like to thank you so much to my viewers for watching my video from the beginning to the end. And especially, I never forget to thank to my big sponsor, Angkor Sin Tour and Travel Company, for supporting my activity from Bok Hang Holy Hill. I would like to wish you all good health, good luck, happiness, and succeed in your career. I hope to see you again in my next video. Thank you.